This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo. Time to chat some hockey.
Shot score! North Dakota wins!
The best college hockey writer in the country is on deck.
North Dakota, champions of the college hockey world.
Here's Brad Schlossman.
Hey, hour two of the big show, ready to rock and roll here on this Friday morning. We appreciate Corey Provis giving us a few minutes. The main thing that people wanted to talk about this week was the craziness of how it started Sunday night at about 6:30 when the email came in that UND had dismissed Brad Berry as head hockey coach. The guy's been living on energy drinks and coffee. Is that probably a great way to say it, Brad, for the last 8 days of what's been going on? So let's try to encapsulate the last 5 days as best we can. And obviously, at least my opinion on this, and I'm unsourced, so I'll ask you, but the timing of the announcement made it seem that the wheels were in motion unless UND, in my opinion, made the Frozen Four that Brad Berry wasn't going to be returning. Is that accurate in your mind?
Well, I don't know what the level was. Was
Yeah.
it make the tournament? Was it win a game in the tournament? Was it win two games? I can't say what exactly the benchmark was going to be, but obviously there was some sort of benchmark set, and UND did not end up reaching that because the decision came fairly quick after Friday night's lost to Western Michigan in the semifinals of the NCHC tournament. The team heads back to Grand Forks on Saturday, and now Sunday is when the decision came down. So it was pretty quick after the season ended.
So that happens. Obviously, portal is looming and opening here, so everything is of pressing need. This is as desirable a job as you can have in the sport. I know the interviews are, as you're reporting, are happening today. The applicant window closed on Wednesday night. I mean, this is a pool of candidates, I have to imagine, Brad, that's pretty desirable. Is it Bill Chaves alone making the decision? Is it a group? What's your reporting on that you know of?
Well, I'm sure, Bill Chaves, Eric Martinson's the deputy AD. He'll be involved. The higher ups in the athletic department will be involved. Ultimately, it's Bill's the guy that makes the call. He's the athletic director. I'm sure the president will be involved as well.
Yeah.
In a decision like this, you certainly include the president. So, but in the end, I think this is a Bill Chaves decision. The timing is really interesting because this is the first UND hockey coaching. Well, it's definitely the first coaching search since the transfer portal.
No doubt.
The coaching searches have changed. We've seen what's happened in different instances. Last year, Northern Michigan had a coaching change. They lost all but 4 players from their team. They had 4 guys stick around. A lot of their recruits left. It's really a challenge to try to hold your players when there's a coaching change. Notre Dame, Cornell, some of these other teams, they announced their successor before the season started. So they came into the season saying, this coach's last year, this is the replacement. They are trying to head that off with those announcements. So that's the reason for going quick. Now, the interesting dynamic, that means you really make it hard for a coach that's in the NCAA tournament this weekend to apply and pursue it. If they want to announce a new coach, and I know this has happened in other sports, like football has happened where a guy is going into a bowl game or a playoff game and he accepts another job. That hasn't happened in the hockey world yet. And hockey generally lags behind football by 5 to 7 years with some of these things. And hockey's not at that point yet. I don't see anyone doing that. At some point, could we maybe see it in hockey? Yeah, things trickle down, but we're not there yet. I don't see, head coaches from NCAA tournaments poking around while they're trying to win a national championship. So that does narrow the field a little bit. If you're having this search in May, your field is every coach in the country. With this quick turnaround,
Correct.
It is not. So it will be interesting to see, what pool of candidates they get. It's not like the old days where I could walk into the human resource office and they had to give me every applicant as they came in. That was wonderful.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
good.
North Dakota changed its state law, so I cannot do that
Yeah.
anymore. So yeah.
Okay, so with the portal opening, first on the open job, I saw this with Bison football last year. There either current team or former players were all in the camp of Tyler Roll to get the job, and obviously Matt Larson went a different way and hired Tim Polisic, who obviously had strong connections. I know that the current team would love Dane Jackson. I know you're reporting that there's a lot of former players that are pushing for him as well. How hard is that not to be swayed there? That's the real question on what Shaves decides to do here for continuity.
I would say I don't think that is a 100% guarantee that a guy players push for is the guy.
Yeah.
I do think it has it does play a little bit of a role. I do think it is impactful. I think when players go to the athletic director and say, we really respect this guy. I think this is why this guy's a great coach. I think you take that as valuable advice from the players. So while I don't think that's going to seal it for Dane Jackson, I do think it helps Dane Jackson, try to become the next head coach.
So with the portal opening on Sunday, are we assuming that over the next 36 hours we know who the next coach is?
I think by the end of Sunday we will.
Okay.
I think so the portal opens on Sunday. You will start seeing guys come in. Monday's really the big day. Like some of the compliance people aren't in the office on Sunday, and kids don't hand their portal slips in until Mondays, but you will see a bunch on Sunday. But Monday is when it's really going to get going. I have a feeling. So, UND guys are free to go in right now.
Correct. Right.
So none of them have gone in. I just checked before we jumped on. I jumped on this call. So as of 5 minutes ago, none of them have jumped in yet. They're right now in this environment. There are teams all over the country that are calling repeatedly on their guys. And the one guy I keep hearing that is getting an insane amount of calls right now is Sasha Boisvert. Someone texted me, the vultures are out. And that was a college coach that is not from this area. And basically said it is incredible the number of calls that both his agent and the Blackhawks are getting right now on people trying to lure him and throw money at him. So will he stay or leave? We'll see. But that's kind of this crazy environment. The other thing about the portal opening Sunday is UND is going to need to get some guys out of the portal too. And I think that their decor is looking really good right now. Up front, they're going to need to add some pieces to that group. And so that's where you want someone in so you can grab some impactful players out of the portal before it gets hollowed out. Because once guys go in, these other coaches are going to be, as the other coach described it, vultures looking for players.
Without giving away your source on that, was that college coach trying to get Boisvert to go there?
Of course, if there's a college coach in the country that isn't trying to get Sasha Boisvert, they're probably, I think every coach wants Sasha Boisvert on their team in the country. He's a superstar.
Sorry, was there a chance he goes pro or no? He's going to return for college hockey next year.
I think his game needs more work.
Okay.
He's a elite goal scorer. He's going to get there. He probably has 1 year left in college.
Okay.
I would guess next year is his last year. He's going to be a superstar. He, maybe a Hobie finalist type of player. He scores a lot of goals, and then he can round out the rest of his game. There are areas of his game that need to get better before he goes to the NHL. The way the kid works and how determined he is, he'll get there. He probably has 1 year left. Okay. And so, the battle is on for Sasha Boisvert right now.
Email comes in to ask Brad about Caleb McDonald. Was he going to go, or was this related to the coaching decision?
I think he was always leaving. I think he did weigh it, but he's a guy that had an opportunity and wanted to take it when he had it. Some of these players aren't sure if it will still be there, that NHL contract. So I think the guys that have been weighing pro deals no matter who the head coach was. Caleb McDonald, Jake Livanovich, Dylan James is going to get a lot of pressure from Detroit to sign. So I think am I missing anyone? I think those are the three that are going to get lots of pressure to sign. One of them, Caleb McDonald, did sign. We'll see on Jake Livanovich and Dylan James. They'll have decisions to make.
A couple minutes left here with Brad. I want to talk about the regional in Fargo here in a minute. On the overarching theme of all the people you talk with in college hockey, what is there a word or words to describe the reaction to the Barrie news in your mind? What would those words be?
I think a lot of people were surprised because in college, it is, I looked the last 20 years I went through. There has only been one coach in 20 years in all of college hockey who's been fired after a 21 season. And that was 12 years ago. So it's been a really long time. So it is fairly unprecedented to fire a coach that has won 20 games. That was Denver's George Gwozdecky, by the way. And I think there was some tension between him and the athletic director at the time. So I think there was more to that one. So, a lot of people are looking at Brad's resume, I think, and saying, man, if that guy can get fired, and they're looking at their own resume and saying, well, we don't have that resume. So
right.
I think, but expectations at North Dakota, there's two places in college hockey where expectations are just out of this world, and it's North Dakota and Minnesota. Like, you have fans right now that are all over social media about firing Bob Motzko. Look at his resume. I mean, the expectations for those two programs are just probably unrealistic.
Yeah, they're skyrocketing. They're astronomical. They are. They absolutely are. Yeah. And the way the game is played now, especially in college hockey, they're unrealistic. But that's what makes them good. That's what makes those programs where they're at, because they have fans who have those kind of unrealistic expectations every year, right?
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, Minnesota's had a very good run under Bob.
Yeah.
And you know what? The NCAA tournament, when you're in one and done situations, the margin for wins and losses, and we're going to talk about the Fargo Regional right now. I mean, just look at those two games. What's the margin for winning those games and losing those games? It's nothing. Yeah. It's a bounce. I mean, the first game, Western Michigan wins. A puck goes off a D-man's boot and goes in the net. Like, when it gets down, all the games are so tight. The difference in these games is minuscule, and guys' entire reputations are based on
the NCAA tournament.
Yes, and it is crazy. It's different than football. The better team the winning percentage is pretty high. You'll see football teams go undefeated sometimes. You'll have football teams with 900 winning percentages. In hockey, you never see a team with a 900 winning percentage. You'll see a good team is 650.
I was going to say like 60, like 67 win percentage. Yeah. That's really good if you're there in hockey.
If you're going 750, you're a top 5 team. And in football you're not. So there's a element of a little bit of chance. I mean, the Big Ten goes 0-3 yesterday.
Right.
That's, and I don't think it's because the Big Ten's a terrible conference.
No,
these are narrow margins. Cornell wins with 10 seconds left. We have 2 overtime games. Those are 3 of the 4 games yesterday. A bounce can win you a championship.
We're watching the Western Michigan, and that they are that close to having their best season ever be derailed by just a fluke overtime loss, and now they get to keep playing.
Late third period, Mankato guy hit the post.
Yeah,
he came in there, and how much time was left when he hit that post? I mean, that's probably the game right there. And you know what? Maybe Western Michigan goes and wins the national title this year. And you go back and say, man, that was posting in there. They're a first round loss, and everyone's questioning what was wrong with this Western Michigan team. If they go on and win it, everyone's going to say, what do we need to do to be more like Western Michigan? It's that's the difference
exactly
between those
right.
two narratives. It's crazy.
Everyone's talking this morning, Brad, that we're at the game last night. You were at Shields Arena on the end of the Gophers game with UMass, and obviously the non-call. I've watched the sport my entire life. referees, it's only unique to this sport as well, where they have the judgment call. Either they're going to call it or they're not. They decided not to, and then obviously UMass ends up winning the game in overtime, and that's what everybody's going to talk about today, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, the officials definitely don't want to make a bad call that puts a team on a power play and decides the game. So but on the flip side, this one went the other way. By not making a call, UMass ends up going and scoring. I think you really have to, read situations sometimes as an official, and maybe this is one where if it happens and the puck goes down into the corner in the offensive zone, you play it on. But once you see the change of possession, you maybe wait and say, okay, like, gotta call that one. The defender did get the guy's boots on that play. He missed the puck. And
it was blatant, man. It's just blatant. That's the hard thing for some. I love the sport much like you do, and then it's hard to defend this morning when something like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a penalty. And if that happens in the first period, it's a penalty.
Right.
But I think the officials are scared of making a really bad call at the wrong moment, and that happens sometimes. I also thought, Minnesota didn't play well enough in the third and overtime either. You can look at both things.
Yep. Both things can be true. Both things can be true.
UMass played very well too. I was really impressed with UMass, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like some of their D were way better than I expected. But yeah, you're not wrong. That's a penalty.
Yeah. Before we let you go, now it's Western Michigan is going to play UMass tomorrow here in Fargo. What are we talking crowd-wise for what? I mean, they were counting maybe on one of the Minnesota teams being alive, and now it's going to be that for the region championship and a chance to go to the Frozen Four.
It'll be really interesting to see. Hopefully there's a good crowd, because I think this could be a fascinating game, because a little bit different styles. I think it's going to be a really entertaining hockey game. It's a game I'm curious to watch. So I think the fans that go are going to be really enjoy the hockey that's played in that game. But you're right, and and we can go back to the discussion that we have every single year, and we'll keep having it. But this is why you have home regionals. The atmosphere, if Lawson Arena in Kalamazoo is one of the most raucous venues in the country, could you imagine UMass going to Lawson to play for to go to the Frozen Four, what that building would be like? Oh my goodness, it would be incredible. And you'd be watching on TV saying, this is unbelievable. And I'm guessing people all over Canada would be saying, I want to play college hockey like this. But instead, we're going to see a game where they go to the Frozen Four. There's going to be pockets of empty seats, and it's not going to be what it should be. So again, in this scenario, no matter how good the regional is, no matter if you have local teams, you are one game result away from it being a disaster.
We'll table that for like April and May, because we do that every year to discuss that.
We'll get back to it.
I don't want to hold you up any longer, because I'm sure the bat phone is going off because you've been with me here for about 15 minutes. Thanks so much for doing this. Awesome job reporting this whole week, and we'll get you on again once the UND has a new coach, okay?
Excellent. Thanks, Tom.
Brad Schlossman joins us each and every Friday throughout the hockey season. And again, tomorrow, for those that are interested, out at Shields Arena, you going to go to that? You like going to that stuff. You going to get tickets for that tomorrow? You probably can walk right up and get it. Western Michigan and UMass. I didn't see the time on that. Is that an afternoon or an evening one? That's
I think it's a 5:30.
You going to go?
No.
Why not?
Because there's college basketball on. I'd rather go watch college basketball.
All right. Well, I know you like to go to that stuff in person.
I went one year when Minnesota played, I think, American.
Yeah.
And then they boat raced them, and I was like, all right, this is boring.
So, I mean, you saw the video. I thought the crowds were actually pretty good at Shields Arena, yes. Now, granted, the Gopher one I knew was going to get pretty one. But that first one with Western Michigan and Mankato was not bad. That's impressive to me because I did not see it live until I saw the highlights last night.
How many people from War Road were in attendance?
Oh, there'll be more tomorrow.
I put the crowd run at about 3,500.
All right. Wow. All right. We'll see. We'll make sure
Half
we'll
the
check
town,
that out
I don't know
Monday.
how big War Road is.
It's not that big, but we'll see.
Probably the whole town will show up and watch them.
With the Slukinski brothers, they've been really, really good. We're overdue for a break. We caught up on a couple emails. We got my dad coming back on here in about 15 minutes as well. We'll make some picks there as we roll on a Friday morning. We're back after this.